There's a huge danger as a software developer, especially making good money, in thinking that you're not broke when you are broke and thinking that you're rich when you're not. One of my first jobs as a software developer, I got paid $75 an hour. It was the equivalent of about $170,000, $180,000 a year because I had this tax benefit because I was out of state. So I had per diem rate and all this stuff. And essentially, I thought that I was wealthy. And let me tell you what happened. I decided I was going to save up all my money. I was going to become a millionaire because that's what to do, especially 20 years ago. $1 million was a lot more back then than it is now. So I started doing the math and I was like, I do have to pay some taxes. So I took that out of my salary. And then I said, well, I got some living expenses and maybe I could live off of 30 or 40K a year in LA, which I could. I was sleeping on a mattress on the floor. I was eating macaroni and cheese. And I thought I can save 100K per year. And then I did the math on that, which wasn't very hard. And I said, in 10 years, if I save 100K a year, I'll be a millionaire. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. What about inflation? So then I calculated inflation. I said, okay, well, maybe it'll be about 13 years. And then I realized, what the heck? I have to sleep on this mattress on the floor. I have to eat ramen noodles and I have to keep this job and work my butt off for another 13 years in order to just be a millionaire. And that's not even going to be rich. I'm not even going to be wealthy. I'm not even going to be able to retire being a millionaire. And I thought to myself, there has to be a better way. There has to be something else that I could do. And then, of course, I did the math on that. But let's say we put it in the stock market and we got a 10% return on that. That's 8 to 10% return, maybe. It still doesn't change the timeline. It changes it from 13 years to 11 years to become a millionaire. So it still doesn't even really matter. And so the point is, and what I learned from this was I had to figure out a better way. And so I started researching. I started saying, how do people actually get rich? How do people actually get wealthy? Because this doesn't make any sense to me. And what I found was that most of the people that had acquired great wealth, who had become rich, were real estate investors. Now, not all of them primarily invested in real estate, but they all had real estate, and that's how they built and grew their wealth. And so I looked at all these people and I said, if they're doing this, this has to be the way. Now, at that time in my life, I ignored kind of the business element. A lot of these guys were businessmen, had created businesses as well. But what they all had done in common was they all owned real estate. They all had built real estate. And that's how they really amassed large amounts of wealth. So then I immediately started investing in real estate. And now, if you fast forward to today, I'm 42 years old. I actually became financially free at 33 years old from the real estate investments, not from the software development career. In fact, I quit that and I haven't touched code in quite some time, although I'd love to do some coding again. I love doing programming. But my point is that I had to figure out the right way to become financially free. And it's not the way that everyone thinks. Right? So if you're right now making good money as a software developer, you're in this trap. Okay? You're in a trap where because you're making such good money, you think that you're rich when you're not, because you're not financially free. And it's actually going to make it less likely to become financially free because you can get sort of these golden handcuffs where you get trapped into this level of comfort. And because you're in a comfortable place, because you can afford whatever you want, because you're making good money and it's easy money, you don't seek out what you actually need to do to actually become truly financially free. So you end up in this middle ground, right? And this is a place that a lot of software developers end up. I coach a lot of guys, and I can tell you that they end up in this place, and I don't want you to end up in this place. So what's the solution to this? The solution to this is, first of all, to realize that making a lot of money, it might make you feel rich, but it doesn't make you wealthy. In order to be wealthy, you have to have a well that never runs dry. What do I mean by that? I mean that, let's say that you have a regular salary job. Every month, you can get that water to sustain yourself, and you can give it to friends, you can spend it on all kinds of things, but you have to go and you have to refill your bucket again because you have to go back to the job because you only get that money. Let's say you get $20,000 a month. That might seem like a lot of money to you. To a lot of people, it might seem like a money. It ain't shit. Why? Because when you spend that, it's gone, and you have to go make that money again by working at a job. Now, a well that never runs dry is like a well where you've got this bucket and you've got this well and you scoop $20,000 out in 1 month. Okay. And then you go and you spend that and you go do whatever you want to do with that. And then while you're spending that, it's replenishing automatically on its own. And then you can go back next month and scoop another 20 and you can keep on doing that forever. That's true wealth. That's what you really want to build. And so what I found was that there's really a formula for doing this. And you as a software developer, you have the first step of the formula, which is to get a high paying job, right? To invest in yourself, first of all, to develop skills that allow you to make a lot of money. That I think is important. That step could be skipped if you move on to step 2 and you just want to start there. But For most people, that's going to make the most sense. And you've already got that. But that's only step one. Step two is to build a business. And right now, as a software developer, you could start a side hustle. I've helped a lot of people do that. I did that myself. I started a blog, Simple Programmer. This was a side hustle. And then it became $1 million business over time. So building a business is good because it allows you to increase that income up. Because you might think that making $200,000 a year is a lot of income. It's not. For my businesses, I make over $1 million a year pretty easily. And that's still not a lot compared to a lot of guys I know. It's definitely a good amount at that point. If you have a business, if you're making good money as a software developer and you can get a business where you're making 10 or 20K a month on that business, which isn't that difficult to do, especially with the skills that you have, now you can really take a lot of money and just move to step three, which is invest that money in real estate. Now, with the real estate investments that I do, I get 40 to 60% returns every year. I know that seems a little bit crazy and a little bit hard to believe, but trust me, it is 100% certain. In fact, I'll tell you what, if you want to find out exactly how I do this, I have a video that I put out that shows with a spreadsheet exactly how I get those returns. Click the link down below and you can get that for free. I only have that video through that link. That's the only way to get that video. I don't have it published anywhere. To be honest with you, if I put it on YouTube, it would just bomb. Unless you care about what I'm saying right now and looking at a spreadsheet, it's not going to be that interesting to you. But if you do care about that, if you've been listening to what I've been saying in this video and you want to see how I get those returns and how you can do the same thing, like I said, click the link down below and jump onto there. Now, the thing about this is that when you do this, what's going to happen is you're going to build what I call a well that never runs dry. I've got a whole program about that. We're not going to talk about that right now. If you go through the video, you can find out more about that if you're interested in the well that never runs dry. Or you can email me. I want to dig a well at john@simpleprogrammer.com. if you're super interested in doing that. But the whole way that this system works is that we're going to create this renewable income source, right? That's what I did. Once you have enough passive income from real estate coming in, you're taking all the money that you're making from your business, from your job, from all this stuff, you're dumping into real estate. And then you get to this point where all that income that comes from that real estate is enough to live off of. And then that's where the magic happens, because now you're living off of this well that renews every single month. And so what happens is that you can take any other income that you're making. You can still work your job. You can still be running a business. You can take that income and you can put it into digging the well deeper every single month. In 1 month, you're getting $10,000 a month from that when you're living off of that. And then in a couple months, you buy some more property and now you're at $13,000. Then you're at $15,000. Then you're at $20,000 a month. And you can spend that money every single month because it renews every single month. So that is the optimal way to become financially free, to retire without having to be dirt poor. I used to follow Mr. Money Mustache. I actually met him at a conference that we were both speaking at. And he's a cool guy, if you know what I'm talking about. But that way of dirt cheap retiring, that's not good. There's also this book called Early Retirement Extreme. It's a good book. But man, I don't want to do that. I like to fly first class. I like to have some nice stuff. Again, I don't spend a lot of money. I don't have a lot of toys, but I like to be able to go on vacations and have good life experiences and to spend my money on that and not have to worry about those things. So you got to do it the smart way. So anyway, if you guys want to see that and see how I do it, click the link down below, or you can email me. I want to dig a well and I will hook you up.